All right. Good stuff here. Polynomial function q of x equals all this good fun stuff, has known factors x plus 3 times x plus 2, or and x plus 2. So that means that we can write this as x plus 3 times something. Let's say q of x is x plus 3 times something. Let's figure out what that something is using division. So we're going to do 3x to the fourth plus 8x cubed minus 13x squared minus 22x plus 24. Oops, I think I went off the page there, wouldn't we? Let's do the x plus 3. What times x makes 3x to the fourth? 3x cubed. Multiply it out here. 3x to the fourth plus 3x cubed. Sorry, plus 9x cubed. And subtract. 8x cubed minus 9x cubed is negative 1x cubed. Bring down, I'm going to bring down one at a time again because so many. What times x makes negative x cubed? That's negative x squared. Multiply that on the outside. Get negative x cubed minus 3x squared. Subtract that. These cancel. Negative 13x squared minus negative 3x squared makes negative 10x squared. Bring down negative 22x. X times negative 10 makes x times negative 10x makes negative 10x squared. Multiply that on the outside. Get negative 10x squared minus 30x and subtract. These cancel. Negative 22x minus negative 30x makes 8x. Bring down the 24. X times 8 makes 8x. And 8x, 8 times 3 is 24. So when we subtract, that's 0. That's good. That's a factor. So that tells me what goes in here would be 3x cubed minus x squared minus 10x plus 8. But we also know x plus 2 is a factor, which means x plus 3 times x plus 2 times something. And the way we're going to get that something is by rewriting this as x plus 2 times something. So we're going to divide this now by x plus 2. So I'm going to divide 3x cubed minus x squared minus 10x plus 8 by x plus 3. What times x makes 3x cubed? That's 3x squared. Multiply that on the outside. Subtract. These cancel. Negative x squared minus 9x squared makes negative 10x squared. Bring down, get negative 10x. Bring down this one too. What times x makes negative 10x squared? That's negative 10x. Multiply on the outside. Negative 10x minus 30x. Cancels. Negative 10x minus negative 30x makes 20x. This does not seem right. I did x plus 3. I should have done x plus 2. Dang it. That's what's wrong. Scratch that. Try it again. 3x cubed minus x squared minus 10x plus 8. We're dividing it by x plus 2. We divided by x plus 3 already. So x times 3x squared, that was right. This is where it's not going to be right from what we were doing before. Subtract. Negative x squared minus 6x squared makes negative 7x squared. Bring down negative 10x plus 8. X times negative 7x. This looks better. Negative 7x squared minus 14x. And subtract. Negative 10x. Oops. Negative 10x minus negative 14x makes 4x. Bring down the 8. And x times 4 makes 4x. 4 times x and 4 times 2. Subtract and we get 0. So now we're in good shape. We got 3x squared minus 7x plus 4. This one, oops, there it is. We have to factor. And if you remember, we looked at this. We said we need two numbers to multiply, make 12, 3 times 4. And the same two numbers have to add to make negative 7. What two numbers do that? Negative 3 times negative 4 makes positive 12. Negative 3 times negative 4 makes, or plus negative 4 makes negative 7. So we're going to factor this using those numbers. We're going to use these two numbers to split up this term. That's mine because it's ringing and the charging cord doesn't connect good. It's an old phone. Believe it or not, I have an old phone. Well, the charging cord and the phone together are both old and they're wore out, right? Kind of like me. They're just kind of like me. Listen, I'm very old. We're going to look for what's in common here. Common factor here is 3x. And we ask ourselves, what times 3x makes 3x squared? And what times 3x makes negative 3x? We're going to bring down this negative sign and look for a common factor here. That's 4. And then we're going to say what times negative 4 makes negative 4x? And what times negative 4 makes positive 4? Whoops, it's supposed to be a negative 1. Because negative 4 times negative 1 makes positive 4. And that makes this factor to x minus 1 times 3x minus 4. So this, written as a product of linear factors, times x minus 1 times 3x minus 4. And finally, the last one. We have time to do this. The remainder theorem that we looked at the last couple of days before we started reviewing said if we divide a polynomial by x minus 2, the remainder is going to be what we would get if we factored out, or if we divided it by x minus, or if we plugged in x equals 2. So it says x minus 2 is a factor. If we divide by a factor, the remainder is 0. So what we need is for f of 2 to equal 0. If this is true, then f of 2 has to equal 0. So we're going to plug in 2, because f of 2 is just take every x out and plug in 2. Oops, I missed the 32x, didn't I?
Wait, how did we get 2?
Sorry. From the x minus 2, it's the opposite of this number right here. Okay? So it's going to be minus 32 times 2. I missed that one. 2 to the 4th is 16. 2 to the 3rd is 8. So this is going to be negative 8u. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 24 is 96. 32 times 2 is negative 64 for that, and then plus 16. And so if we look at this, and we add all these numbers up, this is going to be 32, 128 minus 64. This is going to be 64 minus 8u equals f of 2. And f of 2 we know has to equal 0 if this is a factor. So we're going to solve that. We're going to add 8u to both sides and get 64 equals 8u. Then we're going to divide both sides by 8 and get u equals 8. And that's how you do that. And that's 8:55, under 9 minutes. Oops.